Dear students, in the last class we have studied the valence bond theory. That means the particularly how the bond is formed between a central metal atom and the ligands. In that already we have studied one diamagnetic complex, that is hexamino cobalt 3. Hexamino cobalt 3. And we found that that is inner orbital complex and and diamagnetic in nature. Now we'll go for another complex, paramagnetic complex. Example we'll take here hexafluorocobaltate 3. Hexafluorocobaltate 3. This complex we can see, this complex is paramagnetic in nature as well. It is outer orbital complex. Why? This is what the study we are going to do here. Why this hexafluorocobaltate is paramagnetic and high spin or outer orbital complex. Already we studied in the last class the ground state of cobalt is 3d74s2 because its atomic number is 27. In the complex, its oxidation state is plus 3. That means 3 electrons lost from its valence shell, that is 4s and 3d, 2 electrons from 4s and 1 electron from 3d. Therefore, it takes the configuration of 3d6. 6 electrons in 3d, orbital and 4s 0. Now we know that there are fluoride ligands are approaching to form the complex, and these fluoride ligands have no capacity to pair the last two electrons present in the 3d orbital. That means the last two 3d orbitals are undergoing pairing based on the ligand. Here the fluoride ligand has no capacity to pair up. Therefore, the unpaired electron present in the 3d orbital remain as such. They do not undergo pairing. They do not undergo pairing. Since there are six ligands are approaching, six empty orbitals are required for hybridization. Means ligands are approaching, six orbitals are required. There are 3D orbitals. That means the inner shell having 3D orbitals are accommodated by the electrons. So these orbitals cannot be used for hybridization. Hence, central metal atom utilizes its valence shell 4s, 4p and 4d orbitals for hybridization. How many? 6 orbitals are required. Therefore, 1 4s, 3 4p, 2 4d. So total of 6 orbitals are used. Total of 6 orbitals are used. Hence, which undergoes sp3d2 hybridization. Here it is d3 written, it is not d3, it should be d2. Hence, it undergoes what? sp3d2 hybridization. Since each ligand, that means there are 6 ligands, they donate 6 pair of electrons. Each pair of electrons are accommodated by 6 hybridized orbitals. 6 hybridized orbitals. And in the complex, that means a cobalt hexafluoro, other hexafluorido or hexafluorocobaltate 3 complex, we can find unpaired electron. Therefore, the complex is paramagnetic. Remember, in the beginning, we have said our aim is to identify why the complex is paramagnetic. That is due to the presence of unpaired electron in the complex. And the complex which uses outer d orbital for hybridization, therefore it is called as outer orbital complex. Therefore it is called outer orbital complex. Next, we can move on to the third compound or complex, that is tetrahedral complex. We know that to be tetrahedral, there must be sp3 hybridization. To be sp3 hybridization, there must be one s orbital and three or p orbital have to mix up. This can be explained by taking nickel tetrachloride or tetrachloronickelate 2 complex. Tetrachloro or tetrachlorido nickelate 2 complex. However, we can call. We know that nickel in its ground state we can write it as 3D84S2, and oxidation state of nickel we can calculate here, it is X plus. There are chloride. Chloride is -1. Therefore, -1 into 4 is equal to charge -2. Therefore, X we can find is +2. Hence, nickel takes the oxidation state of +2. 2 electrons have to lose. Those 2 electrons lost from 4s. Therefore, in excited state of nickel, it has the configuration of 3D8, 3D8, 4s0, 4p0. And we know that there are approaching is chloride ligand. Chloride ligands are approaching. Once again, these chloride ligands have no capacity to pair up the unpaired electron present in the last orbitals. Therefore, these unpaired electrons remain as such. Remember, chloride ligands have no capacity to pair up the unpaired electron. Therefore, these unpaired electrons remain as such. They remain as such. And there are 4 ligands approaches. 4 empty orbitals are required for hybridization. 4 empty orbitals are required for hybridization. Therefore, last 2 orbitals of 3D accommodated by 2 electrons, therefore they cannot be involved, or the last 2D orbitals cannot be involved for hybridization. Hence, the central metal atom uses its valence shell 4s and 4p orbitals to mix up to give sp3 hybridization. sp3 hybridization. Since 4 ligands approaches, those 4 ligands donate 1 pair of electron each, and those 1 pair of electrons are accommodated in sp3 hybrid orbitals. sp3 hybrid orbitals. Here also it's very clear, in the complex there are 2 unpaired electrons, therefore the complex is paramagnetic with respect to 2 unpaired electrons. Paramagnetic with respect to 2 unpaired electrons in the complex. In the complex. Since it undergoes sp3 hybridization, it is tetrahedral in nature. Tetrahedral in nature. Now the last we can go for square planar complex. In the beginning of VBT, we have said to be square planar complex, there must be DsP2 hybridization. DsP2 hybridization. And we'll explain that by taking one more complex, nickel tetracyanide complex or tetracyanido nickelate 2 complex. Nickelate 2 complex. Ground state already said 3D8 4s2. That means ground state of the nickel is given by 3D8 4s2. And oxidation state once again we will get here +2. Hence, nickel in its +2 oxidation state loses 2 electrons, that is from 4s. Hence, it takes the configuration of 3D8 4s0. 3D8 4s0. Now the interesting, approaching ligand is cyanide. Approaching ligand is cyanide. In the previous complexes we have studied, cyanide ligands has capacity to pair the unpaired electron. Cyanide ligand has capacity to pair up the unpaired electron. Therefore, the last 2 electrons or unpaired electrons present in the d orbital undergoes pair up. Now there are 4 ligands are approaching. 4 orbitals are required. One is utilized from D because it is empty, and only 4 are required. That's why 1, 2, 3, 4. One is from D orbital and one is from S, 2 is from P. So total of 4 orbitals are used. 4 orbitals are used to give dsp2 hybrid orbitals. dsp2 hybrid orbitals. The 4 ligands which donated 4 pair of electrons are accommodated in dsp2 hybrid orbital, and we can see in the complex there are no unpaired electrons. In the complex we can see there are no unpaired electrons, therefore the complex is diamagnetic. The complex is diamagnetic and it uses its inner d orbital. It uses its inner d orbital. It is inner orbital complex, or also called low spin complex. Low spin complex. Students, try to remember these are the 4 complexes you have to study. Out of 4 complexes, one definitely will be in the examination. Next, we can move on to the magnetic property of coordination compounds. Here, already we studied that to be paramagnetic, there must be at least one unpaired electron in the complex. And if there are no unpaired electrons, the complex is diamagnetic. That point we are not going to study here. Here we are going to study particularly if the complex is paramagnetic, then with respect to how many unpaired electrons, it is paramagnetic in nature. Whether it is 1 unpaired, 2 unpaired, 3 unpaired, 4, 5. No doubt if the central metal atom having the configuration of 3D1, 2, 3D3, like that, D1, D2, D3. That means 1, 2, 3 electrons respectively in d orbitals. No doubt that is always paramagnetic with respect to 1, 2, 3 electrons respectively. If there is only one electron in the d orbital, no doubt that is always paramagnetic with the 1. If there are d2, 2 electrons in the d orbital, then there is no doubt unpaired 2 electrons, and which is paramagnetic with respect to 2. If there are 3 electrons in the d orbital, then also no doubt it is paramagnetic with respect to 3 electrons, because they are always remain unpaired, whatever may be the approaching ligand is, whether the ligand is uh, chloride, fluoride, etc., or cyanide, etc. Those 3 electrons do not undergo pairing. They remain in T2G set if the complex is octahedral. Question is, there are 4 electrons, that is D4, D5, D6. Now, in the case of D4, whether the complex is paramagnetic with respect to 4 or one of the last d orbital unpaired electron gets paired is the question. Or if the D5 central metal atom has 5 electrons in the d orbital, question is whether all the 5 electrons remain unpaired or the last 2 electron gets paired. Similarly, in the case of D6 configuration is the case we are going to study here. That clearly depends on what? That depends on the type of the ligand. That depends on the type of the ligand. Whether the approaching ligand has capacity to pair up or not. We'll take some examples here for D4, D5 and D6, and then we study. I'll explain D4 case now. First, manganese. That means hexacyanomanganate. Manganese configuration, you know, it is 3D5 4s2. Here manganese takes the oxidation state of +3, therefore it is 3D4. 3 electrons have to lose, 2 electrons from 4s and 1 from D, therefore it takes the configuration of what? 3D4. Since according to the Hund's rule, all the 4 electrons accommodated singly first, Now the question, what about the fourth electron? Whether this fourth electron remains as such or gets paired. Because already said in the previous class, first three orbitals they do not containing unpaired. First three orbitals, d orbitals containing unpaired electrons, they do not undergo pair up. Pairing takes place only from the last two orbital. Pairing takes place only from the last two orbital. Now the question, this electron undergoes pairing or not? Since the approaching ligand is cyanide, the unpaired electron present in the fourth orbital gets paired. So there are two unpaired electrons left. There are two unpaired electrons left. Hence the complex is paramagnetic with respect to two unpaired electrons. Paramagnetic with respect to unpaired. Now there are two empty orbitals are available and six orbitals are required for hybridization. Therefore, these two orbitals are used for hybridization forms what DSP D2 sp3 hybridization. D2 sp3 hybridization giving inner orbital complex. Another case we can consider hexachloromanganate 3 or hexachloridomanganate 3. Here, once again, say manganese takes the configuration 3d5 4s2 in the ground state. Here also manganese takes the oxidation state of +3, therefore it is 3d4. 4 electrons in the d orbital, they are unpaired according to Hund's rule, singly paired first. Now the approaching ligand is chloride. Approaching ligand is chloride. Has no capacity to pair up the electron. Chloride has no capacity to pair up the unpaired electron. Therefore, all the four electrons remain unpaired. Hence, it is paramagnetic with respect to four unpaired electrons. Four unpaired electrons. Now, the interesting approaching ligand 6. 6 empty orbitals are required. If it uses its inner d orbital, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more d orbital has to use from what? 4d. That is always not possible. A central metal atom has to use either its inner d orbital or it has to use what is the outer orbital. Either it has to use its inner orbital or it has to use outer orbital. Since the unavailability of two inner d orbital, the central metal atom has to goes to outer d orbital. Therefore, it undergoes sp3d2 hybridization. Do remember, central metal atom has to utilize either inner d orbital or outer d orbital, but not both. But not both. Hence, this complex is outer orbital complex and paramagnetism with respect to 4 unpaired. Similarly, we can explain minimal complexes with the D5 configuration, D6 configuration, etc. Example, hexacyanoferrate D5. It is, since it is a cyanide, has capacity to pair last two electrons from D5 gets paired and remains only one unpaired, therefore paramagnetic with respect to one unpaired. Whereas here, since fluoride has no capacity, all the five remains unpaired, therefore it is paramagnetic with respect to five unpaired electrons. Similarly, cobalt in hexafluoridocobaltate paramagnetic with respect to 4 and trioxalatocobaltate 3 is diamagnetic because this has capacity to pair up all the unpaired electrons. Either because it takes a D6, out of D6 already one is paired, there are four unpaired, two last unpaired gets paired here, hence it is diamagnetic. Hence, we can conclude hexacyanidomanganate, hexacyanidoferrate, trioxalatocobaltate are inner orbital complex with D2sp3 and are two complexes, especially first two, hexacyanidomanganate, hexacyanidoferrate are paramagnetic and the last one is diamagnetic. Similarly, hexachloridomanganate, hexafluoridoferrate, hexafluoridocobaltate cobaltate R undergoes sp3d2 with the outer orbital complex and paramagnetic with respect to 4, 5 and 400 electrons. 4, 5, 400 electrons. Now the last part of valence bond theory will go for limitations of valence bond theory. This theory has a lot of assumptions, and it does not give quantitative interpretation of magnetic data. It says only paramagnetic, diamagnetic, but does not say quantitatively. Does not explain color exhibited by the complexes. That means certain complexes are colored, certain complexes are colorless. The theory does not explain why. Does not explain quantitative interpretation of thermodynamic and kinetic stability of the complex. That means why the complexes are stable. Does not make exact prediction regarding tetrahedral square planar structures of four coordinate complexes. That means having the four ligands, the theory clearly does not separate the idea of tetrahedral square planar. And the last and very, very important is it does not distinguish between weak and strong ligands, because we were speaking during the formation of a complex or during the approach of certain ligands. Unpaired electron of certain cases, in certain cases we find unpaired electron gets paired, and in certain cases we can find the unpaired electron remain as such. Why? The theory does not explain. To know that, we'll continue with the next theory.